like the SAT cameras today.
Dr. Gaspar says to set the camera up, right?
Oh, okay. Really?
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole, that's Christina, Sarah, Kendall, and Haley, and we are group 4, and we will be talking about team building. So my topic is what is team building and its effects on performance. So team building is basically putting a group of people together and turning them into a team. It can be kind of awkward in the beginning, but once that connection's formed, a great team can form, and it just has so many good benefits. It leads to more motivation, increase in productivity, more creativeness, and a lot of other benefits that I'll talk about later. So how do you team build? A lot of companies will invest in team building, and it could be as simple as just getting a small icebreaker to going on a huge vacation. And team building is very essential because, like I said earlier, it just forms a really good connection. And when the connection's formed, that means people are happier working. So examples of team building are actually what we did on the very first day of class when we played with the Legos. It's like a small little icebreaker, but it helped us bond with one another. And
Play with Legos.
We
Team build.
Team build with Legos, and we learned about each other and the small little things that helped. And then some also examples of team building are going on vacation, going out to eat, and doing fun activities around campus. So all teams are formed by doing a couple steps called forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. So some of these steps either last longer or they're like way shorter. Sometimes people skip over the storming step while some teams just stay in the storming step. So the first one is forming, and this is when a team first gets to know each other, and everyone's like a little shy, they're reserved, so they're not really saying their true thoughts and opinions. And this is when you're getting to know the basic facts and you're figuring out what is the goal of your team and where you guys are trying to go. So after forming comes storming, and this is a stage where some teams can kind of skip over, or sometimes teams just can't move past this stage. And this is when now you're more comfortable, so you're going to say your thoughts and your feelings, and you're going to start to disagree with what other people are saying. So after storming comes norming. So once you get past the fighting stage, then you start to see other people's differences, and you enjoy other people's differences, and you start to feel really accepted and belonging in your group, and you appreciate your differences, and you're able to discuss your different ideas and opinions. So then after that comes performing and adjourning. So performing is the peak of your teamwork, and this is when you're performing at your best. You can do it alone, you could do it together, and you are very people-oriented and task-oriented at this point. And then adjourning is the very end, when you say goodbye to your team and call it a day and thank you for your work. So some companies that team build are Facebook. After searching online, I found that Facebook does really fun team activities. They do a music video, and all the teams do a music video, and at the end they decide who was the best one, they win a prize. They also go on really fun vacations together. So these kind of things help them stay team-oriented, and they really care about the team there. So some positive of team building, there's a ton, that's why companies invest in it. It can be increasing in productivity, motivation, creativity, and more problem solving, which I'll explain in my other slides. So increasing productivity and reducing stress. So when you work as a team, not all the work is just on one person, it's divided in everyone. So that reduces your stress right off the bat. And increasing your productivity is when you figure out the strengths and weaknesses of your team, so you know who's best at what and who should probably do this project well, that kind of stuff, so you work better together. Another benefit is increase in motivation. So when your team does really well, you're going to want to work hard too, so you can help your team succeed. And when you're really close with your team and you have trust, you don't want to let your team members down, so you want to try your very hardest and keep your weight with the team. Another positive is increase in problem-solving skills. So if you were given a problem, it's much easier to figure out that problem when there's more minds working towards it than just yourself. And also when your team is more diverse, you have more opinions and differences that help you come to that conclusion of the problem. And then the last benefit is increase in creativity. When you are in a team and you throw out an idea, your team can help you reinforce your idea, and they can support you, and they could really help you make that idea vision and just really like benefit with the creativity. So unfortunately, there are some negatives of team building. That's why some companies don't invest in it. I'll talk about the negatives in the next 2 slides, but they are cost, and sometimes when your team's not connecting, it just does the opposite. It's not really a good thing. So cost is one of the first negatives of team building. Not all companies make millions of dollars to pay for an elaborate vacation or do music videos like Facebook. So teams can't really participate in team activity, and also sometimes those team activities don't really work, so you're paying money for essentially like nothing. Then another con is the team is not connecting. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes teams can't get past that storming stage, so just nothing's working, nothing's connecting, and there's nothing you can really do about it, so why waste your money and do a team activity when it's not really working? So for my personal experience, I'm interning at Caesars this summer, and it's a management hospitality internship, and they're very big on teamwork there because during my interview they asked if I'm okay with teamwork, and I'll be working with the other interns for a case study, and then I have to do a big presentation at the very end of my internship, so I'll do some teamwork. And then a recap, I talked about forming, storming, norming, and performing, and adjourning, and then I also talked about the positives and negatives of team building. And up next is Christina.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Christina, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to choose what type of team building to conduct to make sure that you are making the most effective team building. So the first thing we want to remember is team building is a journey. It's not a destination. So there's 12 questions you're going to want to ask to make sure that you're developing the best activities and best program for your team. So your first okay.
You went backwards.
Yeah, it's going backwards. Can I just
There's a double in there. Do whatever you need to do.
Okay. So the first question we're going to ask is, how would you rate your team building goals on a continuum of fun versus developmental? So fun team building events are morale boosting and help the team gel better together, while developmental are more aimed at identifying the activities that the team is doing that inhibit them from doing or from engaging in a positive and productive work environment, and either way they're both going to be effective. So Team Builders Plus is an example of an outside facilitator that can be hired by companies. They were first active in 1991, and they help teams to achieve and sustain professional, personal, and organizational success. So this is Team Builders Plus's continuum. They have 3 levels that you use to decide which activities would be most beneficial for a team, and they are still based on fun versus developmental. It's just splitting up, like level 1 to 3 is like fun, and then the rest of the levels are more developmentally based. So an example of a specific fun-based team building activity from Team Builders Plus is their gold medal games. And in this case, they take the teams, or a single team, and divide it into individual teams. And the teams are able to create an identity for themselves by choosing a name and slogan. Then they compete in a bunch of just fun, hilarious exercises, and winners are given gold medal or silver, or gold, silver, or bronze medals. So the next question we're going to talk about is, are you interested in a process or an event? So a process is more of an in-depth, long-term development which reinforces knowledge learned because it takes place over several sessions over several months, while an event is more of a single session kind of thing that takes less than a day usually. Then we're going to look at, what do you expect from an in-depth team building program or process? Prior to the intervention, a clear understanding of the behaviors the group needs to start, stop, or continue needs to be established in order to make sure that your program is designed to be the most effective as possible. Then we want to say, are you looking for an off-the-shelf or customized program? Off-the-shelf programs are going to be less expensive because they're standard programs designed to help teams achieve goals and objectives, while customized are more costly, but they are more effective in certain cases where teams really need that extra development where it's specific towards them. So we're going to talk about the skills needed to be an effective team member, and you'll see why I'm talking about this when we get to the next slide. But they include communication skills, ability to trust, conflict management, and interpersonal know-how in order to build strong relationships. And everybody's skills are going to be different based on their experiences and behavioral style. So, do you believe the issues facing your team are skill-based or dynamic-based? Sometimes the team has all the necessary skills to be successful, but they lack morale, the ability to build trust, personality clashes, or communications breakdowns. You also just need to say, does your team not have the skills, and do we need to develop training programs to teach these people the skills? Next question is, do you believe that everyone on the team would identify the same core challenges? As a team leader, you need to remember that your definition of what's going on with your team may not include the overall team's definition. So it's really important to include their opinions to make sure your program is achieving the overall team needs. Is there any pre-work needed before team building? Like, we could do a team survey. Like I said, that's going to make sure everybody understands what's going on, make sure that all the needs are going to be met. And pre-work could also include for fun-based activities, hyping up the activity, making everybody excited, motivated to really go all in on this. Next question is it beneficial to speak with a facilitator conducting your program prior to team building? Yes, absolutely. Whether you're using an in-house facilitator who already knows what's going on or an outside facilitator such as Team Building Plus, you always want to make sure they know exactly what's going on with your team in order to make sure what they do is most effective. How do you gain buy-in for team building? You want to include your team in the process. So I'm going to bring up the survey again because if they feel involved in creating this process, they're going to be more motivated to participate and really give it their all. Next, we're going to talk about where should you conduct the program. The investment in your team's location is also an investment in your overall team. Off-site locations are more expensive, however, they create a more relaxed and conclusive environment for your team to learn and grow in together. What type of budget is available to conduct your team building? Now, having a strict budget is going to help you set realistic expectations for your team, and you're going to be able to decide if you're going to do a process or an event, customized or off-the-shelf program, or use a facilitator that's in-house staff or professional staff. How can you measure team building success? One of the ways is bringing up the survey again is doing a prior and post-intervention survey just to see what's if the team has applied the knowledge they've learned, as well as if they need to set up a follow-up team building event to set more goals if deemed necessary. My personal experience is I work at Nautica, the retail store. At one point we had an extremely functional team and we were great, awesome. With new staff coming in and out, the dysfunction grew, and I think if we had both fun and developmentally team building activities, that our sales, our customer service, and overall store appearance would have definitely been very conductive of that. So to recap, as you guys can see, a lot of consideration really needs to go in choosing what type of team building you're going to do. And if a team leader successfully is able to answer the 12 questions presented in this case, they'll definitely see a drastic improvement in their team. Up next, we're going to hear from Sarah, who's going to speak to you guys about retention rates and its relation to team building.
Hi guys, my name is Sarah. I'm a senior here at Rowan, and I'm going to teach you a little bit more about company retention within a company. So to begin, actually it's okay if I go back to the first slide. I think I accidentally. Sorry about that. Alright, so I'm going to teach you about retention rate, exactly what retention is within a company, why it is important and necessary for your company's growth. And also I'm going to teach you about how team building really helps with helping with your company overall retention rate. How's it going? So company retention, ultimately what this is just your people are the most important asset to your company. So this is just the ability for you to maintain those key components of your company for a long duration of time. This is ultimately important. I'm going to be able to go into that with you today in order of how this will help you with cost, which is it's ultimately going to cut expenses. How it cuts expenses is due to training and development for employees is a really expensive procedure for a company. So when you constantly have people leaving your company, it kind of creates an extra expense. But when you keep your